It all began on a cold, misty night when Ethan Miller, a young urban explorer with a growing YouTube channel, sat with his friends around a campfire. They often shared stories of haunted places, but that night, one story stood out: the Blackwood House. Abandoned for nearly 100 years, it stood on the outskirts of town, hidden behind a wall of ivy and rusted gates. Locals said that anyone who entered never came out the same. Some claimed to hear whispers in the wind near its gate. Others swore they'd seen lights flicker inside, even though the electricity had been cut off decades ago. Ethan's curiosity was his biggest weakness or strength, depending on who you asked. His friend Ryan grinned and said, "If you're brave enough, go inside and film it. Let's see if your audience really loves real fear." Ethan laughed it off at first, but as the night grew colder and the wind howled, something inside him stirred. He wasn't just doing this for views. He wanted proof that there was nothing supernatural about those old stories. The next evening, armed with a flashlight, a GoPro, and his phone camera, Ethan stood before the towering Blackwood gates. His breath misted in the air as he hit record. The screen flickered, showing his face lit by the pale glow of his phone. "All right, guys," he whispered into the camera. "I'm about to prove that this place is just another crumbling house with a creepy story." As he reached for the gate, the metal groaned and creaked as if warning him to turn back. But he smiled nervously and said, "Too late now." Behind him, the wind died completely. An unnatural stillness settled in. He pushed the gate open, and the sound echoed like a scream in the silence of the night. The real exploration was about to begin. The cold air seemed heavier as Ethan stepped through the rusted gate. Behind him, the night swallowed every sound. Even the crickets had gone silent. He paused for a moment, his flashlight beam cutting through the fog. The house loomed ahead like a dark monument of forgotten grief. Its windows were shattered, the roof sagged inward, and the ivy clung to its stone walls like veins feeding a dying heart. He panned the camera slowly across the yard. The footage showed a rotting swing swaying faintly, though the air was still. "Creepy touch, huh?" he muttered, trying to sound brave for his viewers. But deep down, he could feel the atmosphere changing, like the house itself was watching him. The main entrance was boarded up, so Ethan circled the property, stepping carefully through the overgrown grass. His boots crunched on glass and old bones of small animals. Suddenly, his flashlight flickered once, twice, and went out completely. "Oh, come on," he hissed, smacking it lightly. The light came back, but in the brief darkness, he thought he'd seen movement in the upstairs window. A faint shadow, standing perfectly still. He zoomed in with his phone camera, but nothing was there now. Just emptiness. "Probably my reflection," he told himself, though the window was too dirty to reflect anything. At the side of the house, Ethan found a smaller iron gate, half hidden under ivy. It was chained shut with an old padlock, but when he reached out, the lock fell open, as if waiting for him. His heart skipped a beat. "Guess I've got an invitation," he whispered, forcing a grin. He pushed the gate open, and the hinges screamed in protest. Beyond it lay a narrow path leading to the back door, half open, swaying gently, as if someone had just walked inside. The real horror waited within those walls. Ethan stepped cautiously through the half-open back door, its hinges moaning like something alive. Inside, the air was thick with dust and decay. His flashlight beam sliced through the darkness, revealing cobwebs hanging like curtains and wallpaper peeling away in jagged strips. The floorboards creaked under his boots, each step echoing through the hollow house, as if the walls were whispering his arrival. He began recording again, his voice hushed. "Okay, this place feels wrong. The smell, it's like wet earth and something rotten." He swung his light toward the living room. Broken furniture, lay scattered across the floor. An old armchair turned toward a dead fireplace. Above it, a faded family portrait hung crookedly. A man, a woman, and a little girl with an unsettling smile. The camera zoomed closer. The little girl's eyes seemed to follow him. Ethan laughed nervously. Classic creepy painting. Love it. But then he noticed something else. Children's drawings, dozens of them, scattered on the floor beneath the painting. Crayon sketches of stick figures, all drawn inside what looked like the same house. One drawing showed a dark figure standing in the doorway. Another showed a child crying in the basement. A faint sound broke the silence, a soft, rhythmic humming. It was coming from below. Ethan froze. "Hello," he called out. The humming stopped instantly. He followed the sound to a narrow hallway leading to the basement door. The wooden door was heavy, scarred with deep scratch marks, as if someone had tried to claw their way out. His hand trembled slightly as he reached for the handle. It was cold, too cold. He tried to turn it, but it wouldn't budge. Locked tight. From the inside, as he leaned in to inspect the keyhole, a faint whisper brushed against his ear, "Don't open it." He spun around, heart pounding, but the hallway was empty. Only the faint sound of a rocking chair creaking somewhere deeper inside the house. Ethan's pulse thundered in his ears as he backed away from the locked basement door. He turned the camera toward the sound of the creaking chair, whispering, "There's someone else here. There has to be." But as he entered the main hallway, the noise stopped. Total silence again, so complete that even his breathing felt too loud. Dust motes floated in the air as he climbed the staircase, the wood groaning under his weight. Halfway up, his camera flickered. Static. A single frame of something flashed across the screen, a pale face in the dark behind him, gone in an instant. He didn't see it then, but the recording would later show it clearly. Upstairs, the corridor stretched ahead, lined with doors that led to forgotten rooms. Ethan chose the one at the end, its door slightly ajar. He nudged it open with his foot, camera raised. The flashlight revealed what looked like a child's bedroom. The wallpaper was faded pink, the bed small and covered in dust. Stuffed toys sat in one corner, their button eyes missing. "Looks like a little girl's room," Ethan murmured. Creepy but kind of sad. He took a step forward and froze. Someone whispered his name. "Ethan." The sound came from behind him. He spun around, the light cutting through the empty hallway. "Who's there?" he shouted. No answer. Only that whisper again, softer this time, almost inside his head. "You shouldn't be here." The temperature dropped sharply. His breath turned visible in front of him. He turned the camera back toward the room and caught a faint silhouette standing by the window. A child-sized shadow, unmoving. Ethan whispered shakily, "Okay, not funny, Ryan. If that's you." The shadow turned its head and then vanished. Ethan stumbled backward, heart racing, muttering, "Nope, nope, nope." But before he could leave, the door slammed shut behind him with a deafening bang. The whisper returned, this time closer. "You opened the wrong door." Ethan pressed his back against the closed door, his breath coming in short bursts. "Okay, calm down," he whispered to himself, trying to steady his shaking hands. His flashlight flickered, casting moving shadows across the room. The toys in the corner seemed to have shifted slightly, or maybe it was just his nerves playing tricks. He turned his camera toward the dresser on the far side of the room. Above it hung an old, cracked mirror, half covered in dust. His reflection appeared faint and distorted, the cracks slicing his face into jagged fragments. He raised the camera closer, speaking to it quietly. "All right, viewers, let's see what secrets this house is hiding." Behind him, the door creaked softly, though it hadn't opened. The air felt heavy now, pressing down on his chest. Ethan lifted his flashlight to adjust the beam, and in that moment, he froze. The reflection in the mirror had changed. It wasn't his face anymore. Standing directly behind him in the reflection was a tall, thin man dressed in old-fashioned clothes, his skin pale, eyes completely black. The man didn't move, didn't breathe, he just stared. Ethan's throat went dry. He spun around instantly. No one there. The room was empty, silent. When he looked back at the mirror, his own reflection had returned. But now, something new appeared on the wall behind him. Faint letters scrawled in dust. Stay. He stumbled back, whispering, "This isn't real. This has to be some trick." His flashlight flickered violently. For a split second, the man was back, not in the mirror this time, but standing right behind him. Ethan screamed, the camera jolting as he dropped it. The lens hit the floor, showing only his feet as he backed toward the door. A deep, distorted voice echoed through the room. "You were warned." The mirror shattered violently, shards flying across the floor as every toy in the room turned its head toward him. Ethan's hands trembled as he picked up his fallen camera, the screen now cracked but still recording. His voice quivered. "Okay, that mirror just broke on its own. I need to get out." But as he turned to the door, it creaked open slowly, as if inviting him to continue deeper into the house. Against every instinct, his curiosity pulled him onward. He stumbled back down the stairs, his boots echoing hollowly. The house seemed alive now, the walls faintly vibrating, distant whispers overlapping each other in unintelligible murmurs. When he reached the hallway again, the basement door that had once been locked was now slightly ajar. The same soft humming from before drifted through the gap. Ethan hesitated, breathing heavily. "If anyone's down there, I'm filming," he warned, though his voice barely held steady. He pulled the door open, revealing a steep staircase descending into darkness. A damp, musty smell hit him instantly. Mold, rot, and something metallic. Blood, maybe. He descended slowly, one step at a time, his flashlight trembling in his grip. The air grew colder with every step. At the bottom, he found a single hanging bulb swaying gently, though there was no breeze. Beneath it sat an old wooden rocking chair, moving back and forth on its own. "Hello," he whispered. No answer. Then he noticed an old journal resting on a dusty table beside the chair. Its leather cover was cracked, and the first page read, "To speak with the lost, one must never break the circle." The pages described nightly seances performed by Dr. Charles Blackwood, the house's owner, who had attempted to summon his dead daughter. Until one night, something else answered. The final entry ended mid-sentence. "It's not her. It wears her voice." As Ethan read the words aloud, the bulb above him began to swing violently. The rocking chair stopped. The humming returned, this time right behind him. He turned slowly, camera shaking, was standing at the bottom of the stairs. Ethan froze, the flashlight beam trembling in his hand. At the bottom of the stairs, only a few feet away, stood a small figure, the shape of a little girl, her head tilted slightly to one side. Her long hair hung wet and matted over her face, her dress torn and gray with age. Who are you?" Ethan whispered, taking a cautious step back. The girl didn't respond. Instead, she began to hum softly, the same haunting tune he'd heard since entering the house. His camera focused on her, its auto-zoom glitching as if struggling to capture her shape. The light flickered once, and when it came back on, the girl was gone. The rocking chair behind him creaked once more. Ethan spun around, and there she was sitting in it, smiling faintly now. Her lips moved without sound, but on the camera screen, subtitles of static appeared. "Help me." Ethan's breath hitched. "What do you want from me?" he pleaded. The girl's head turned slowly toward the shadows. From that darkness, the tall man from the mirror emerged, his pale face glowing faintly in the flickering light. Ethan stumbled backward, tripping over the steps. His camera clattered onto the floor, but continued recording. The man reached out a long, skeletal hand. The footage crackled, frames skipping. Ethan's terrified screams echoed, distorted, blending with static. The last clear image was his flashlight spinning wildly, illuminating flashes of faces. The woman from the portrait, the little girl, and the tall man, all standing together in the dark. Then blackness. Hours later, the footage cuts to daylight. Police tape flutters at the gate. A voice from off-camera says, "We found this just outside the property." The view tilts down to Ethan's camera, still on, its red light blinking. The final seconds show the house in the distance. Its windows light up one by one, flickering, pulsing, though the house has no electricity. And through the broken upstairs window, a small figure waves slowly toward the lens. Fade to black.